Welcome to 'Tis the Soundtrack. This is Eden Williams, and today is June 25th, the halfway point to Christmas. Today we're talking about the Hafod hardware Christmas adverts and the holiday music of Andrea von Kampen. Happy Leon Day, everyone!
Can you promise me a good old-fashioned holiday?
And a happy Leon Day to you too, Eden. I want to start by thanking my daughter who provided the intro for today's special Leon Day episode. She just had her braces installed or put on or bonded or whatever you call it this morning, and despite a sore mouth, still got on the microphone to record her opening. For anyone unfamiliar with the holiday, Leon Day marks the day of the year when the next Christmas is closer than the last, the halfway point, or June 25th. Not to be confused with Leon Day's Day, a holiday in Baltimore and Annapolis that celebrates Baseball Hall of Famer Leon Day, and was originally declared as part of an effort to get him inducted. Leon Day, the June 25th holiday that is, gets its name from being Noel spelled backwards. It's also the name of the stop-motion snowman from the movie Elf, who is voiced by Leon Redbone. But I'm not sure that last bit has any connection to the holiday. Just a happy coincidence. We won't be diving any deeper into Leon Day here. There are a lot of other great Christmas podcasts and podcast episodes that have already done that, so we'll leave it to them. And speaking of great Christmas podcasts, a whole slew of them have released new episodes for Leon Day. So, if you like this, but wish it had a touch more production quality, or maybe a touch better host, or just didn't jump topics every 30 seconds, today's your lucky day. When you finish up with this episode, go check out some of the other Leon Day episodes from much better Christmas podcasts that also dropped today. Now, on to the main topic. In late 2019, something awesome happened. And no, I'm not talking about my family's Disneyland vacation, though that was pretty great too. A little store in Rhayader, Wales, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, produced a heart-melting Christmas advert set to a beautiful folk rendition of Forever Young. As Eden mentioned at the top, this is the story of Hafod hardware and the music of Andrea von Kampen.
I'll be home for Christmas.
Unless you're really into competitive wheelbarrow racing or rock, paper, scissors, both of which have world championships in Rhayader, and I say that with all the same seriousness and authority as the Rhayader Carnival website, which cheekily boasts these claims, you might not be familiar with the small town in Powys County, Wales. Rhayader is located about 2 hours west of Birmingham in the Cambrian Mountains, and in addition to wacky championships and mountain cycling, Rhayader is also the home of Hafod Hardware, a local hardware store, or ironmonger, which has been around in some form or fashion since 1895, and at its current location on East Street since 1930. The business last changed hands when it was purchased by Pauline and Alan Lewis in 1999. And the shop is currently managed by the Lewis's grandson, Tom Lewis Jones, who started working for his grandparents in 2009. It was initially a job to pay the bills while he and his band pursued a full-time career in music. But, as Tom described in an interview, the band broke up and he found that he liked working in the shop and being part of the local community. Fast forward to 2017, and it was Tom, with the help of his friend, filmmaker Josh Holdaway, who decided to create a holiday advert to promote the hardware store. The first commercial featured Tom on Christmas Eve driving all over Rhayader on his motorcycle, delivering orders to his customers, a service that Hafod Hardware does indeed offer to locals. The ad continues with Tom falling asleep at his kitchen table, too exhausted to wrap his own family's presents, then waking up Christmas morning to see that it was taken care of while he slept. It ends with the tagline, "Delivering magic this Christmas." The advert generated a bit of buzz back in 2017, albeit mostly regional. And mostly because Tom had stated at the time that the whole video cost £7 to film, or a bit under $10 to produce, the entirety of the budget going to purchase the big red sack Tom is seen carrying throughout the video. The commercial is set to Andrea von Kampen's version of I'll Be Home for Christmas, but more on her later. In 2018, they went for it again. This time, the story revolves around Tom constructing a scale model of Hafod hardware, and ends with him displaying it in the storefront window. Most of the advert is a construction montage with Tom using various products sold at the hardware store to make his model. It uses the tagline, "Making Houses Homes This Christmas," and is set to another Christmas cover by Andrea von Kampen, this time White Christmas.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
While the first commercial received a bit of notoriety, this follow-up came and went without registering more than a blip, which I find a bit sad. As a longtime scale modeler myself, and lover of many miniature games from Warhammer to Infinity to Marvel Crisis Protocol, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It turns out the rest of Rhayader agreed with me. Not necessarily about the scale modeling part, but that the Hafod holiday adverts had become a town tradition and needed to continue. Tom wasn't planning on creating a new video for 2019, but the support of the locals convinced him to try it again, and this is where he struck pure gold. Teaming up once again with filmmaker Josh Holdaway and musician Andrea von Kampen, the 2019 advert featured Tom's 2-year-old son Arthur going through the daily routines of a shopkeeper, from getting up and eating breakfast to opening the shop, stocking shelves, helping customers, and wrapping gifts. It ends with Arthur closing the shop and hoisting a Christmas tree up over his shoulder, at which point he transforms into his father Tom. The commercial ends with the tagline, "Be a kid this Christmas." The commercial is sweet and touching, but in my opinion, it was the choice of music that caused it to explode. The advert is set perfectly to Von Kampen's cover of Forever Young. That's the Alphaville version of Forever Young from the early 80s, not the Bob Dylan version from a decade earlier, or the Rod Stewart version from a few years later.
Let us die young and let us live forever. We don't have the power, but we never say never. Sitting in a sandpit, life is a short trip, and music's for the sad man.
And I'm completely aware that this rambling description does not do the advert justice. You really just need to watch it to understand how perfect it is. And this time it wasn't just the people of Rhayader who loved it. It took the internet, or at least the United Kingdom's corner of the internet, by storm. Within the first 5 days, the video had amassed over 500,000 views on YouTube, and the Hafod hardware phone was ringing off the hook. People all over the United Kingdom were calling to let Tom know how touched they were by his commercial. But nostalgia-laden English folk weren't the only ones calling. This was a perfect, pre-packaged, news-ready story. Mom-and-pop business with over 100 years of history? Check. Heartwarming video featuring a charming toddler? Check. Hip young folk singer? Check. David vs. Goliath story with a local shopkeeper besting the most expensive adverts of the season? Check. Christmas? Check. The coverage practically wrote itself. Media outlets everywhere were comparing the Hafod hardware commercial to Excitable Edgar, the 2019 John Lewis holiday advert that premiered a couple weeks earlier and featured the CGI dragon Edgar, who is so excited for the holidays that he keeps accidentally setting parts of it on fire. A snowman, a frozen pond, the village Christmas tree, you get the idea. Excitable Edgar had it all. Elaborate costumes, a large cast of actors, and an impressively detailed set depicting a village that seemed to exist somewhere between the late Middle Ages and the Victorian era, but all at once. It also featured a cover of REO Speedwagon's Can't Fight This Feeling, performed by Bastille and the London Contemporary Orchestra. But while Edgar succeeded in melting the hearts of the villagers at the end of the advert by lighting the Christmas pudding on fire, it was Arthur as the Hafod hardware shopkeeper that melted the hearts of the millions of people that saw the commercial. And where the John Lewis effort had cost several £1,000,000 to produce, the Hafod hardware commercial, though Tom's most expensive to date, still came in under £100 or $130. See, another soundbite right there, and one that, like the others, received a lot of circulation. What wasn't covered nearly as much back then, and, when it was covered, was often inaccurate, was the story of how artist Andrea von Kampen, the singer who lent her talent and voice to all 3 Hafod adverts, became involved in the yearly commercials. If you read some of the initial coverage from late 2019, or what has been regurgitated around the interwebs since then, you might believe that Andrea was a childhood friend of Tom's, or the two met in college, or that she was an up-and-coming Welsh songwriter. All of that is entirely wrong. Andrea is a Michiganer who, in 2016, was finishing college in Nebraska and gained a bit of visibility when NPR retweeted her entry into their Tiny Desk contest. That same year, she also recorded a 4-song Christmas EP, the AVK Christmas Project. Tom came across some songs from this album while searching YouTube for Christmas music to use in his first commercial in 2017. That's right, he happened to stumble across her music on YouTube and reached out for permission to use it. No further story than that. Or, as Andrea explained it in an interview for a Nebraska newspaper, her videos only had a couple thousand views at the time, so he being Tom, must have been doing some deep digging to find her. Tom asked for permission to use her recording of I'll Be Home for Christmas in his holiday advert, which she gave him for free, as she did again in 2018, to use her version of White Christmas. For the 2019 advert, Tom reached out again to see if she was interested in recording a cover of Forever Young for his next commercial, and he asked how much he could pay her for it. She agreed to do it again for free if Tom covered the engineering costs. After working out how she wanted to perform it, the song was recorded in 20 minutes at a studio in Ashland, Nebraska, and mixed in under an hour. The total engineering cost was $130, the same $130 we mentioned a minute ago, which was the entire production cost of the third commercial. According to Andrea, things went quiet after she shipped the finished recording off to Tom. That is until the advert blew up and she was getting messages from friends all over England who had seen the commercial and heard her song. To date, and by date I mean mid-June 2024, the 2019 Hafod advert has been watched over 2.8 million times on YouTube. The combination of theme, video, and music was so perfectly executed that the commercial was, in my opinion, completely ripped off the following year by another much, much larger company. That company was McDonald's UK, and the commercial was for their 2020 Reindeer Ready campaign, a promotion where you could go to a UK McDonald's on Christmas Eve for a free bag of carrot sticks and a special package labeled reindeer treats. This campaign lasted a few years and seems to have been pretty popular in the UK. But like many of the other happy little things in life, money got in the way. Last year, McDonald's UK announced that for the 2023 holiday season, they would still be offering reindeer treats, but now you had to pay. But we're not here to hate on McDonald's or corporate greed in general today, just this lazy ripoff of a commercial. It is a CGI animated affair featuring a mom and son, the latter of whom is depicted as struggling between wanting to be a teenager and his inner child wanting to participate in holiday activities. Finally, the inner child wins out and the son partakes in a snowball fight with mom, helps decorate the house, and remembers to leave out the previously mentioned McDonald's reindeer treats. Awfully similar to the theme of Be a Kid at Christmas, if you ask me. In fact, in my mind, the pitch meeting went something like this. The creative agency working the campaign showed the McDonald's UK executives the advert and said, "People love this, but it's been a year and no one has any attention span, so we'll just do the same thing. Get someone else to cover the same song, and we'll animate it so the dummies don't immediately realize we copied it. Oh yeah, and we'll make sure to tie in your free carrot stick thing." Then much corporate high-fiving ensued. Whether any of that is accurate or not, and absolutely no disrespect to Becky Hill or the lovely rendition of Forever Young she provided, but I can't for one second think this commercial would exist, or on the off chance it did, would have used the same song if it hadn't been for the media storm surrounding Hafod hardware the year prior. Okay, that's enough time on that, back to the Hafod story. Tom and Andrea teamed up again in 2020. The commercial starts with the now 3-year-old Arthur going around the home collecting household staples like batteries, milk, eggs, and toilet paper. Arthur gives his parents a present he's wrapped himself on Christmas morning, a box containing all the items he's been collecting, along with a shopping list he found and mistook for his parents' Christmas list. The tagline for the advert is, "Give what you can," and the commercial features von Kampen's cover of the pre-Civil War parlor song, "Hard Times Come Again No More," written by Stephen Foster. Andrea had recorded the song for the film Motobella, or A Chance Encounter as it was later retitled, a movie in which she both starred and wrote the soundtrack. While still a beautiful, touching commercial, it wasn't able to recreate the same magic. Maybe it didn't strum the same nostalgic chords as its predecessor, or maybe, coming into the first Christmas of COVID, an advert about giving toilet paper and batteries felt more like a reminder of the struggle folks were having every day than it did a heartwarming message of charity during the holidays. Or maybe the news cycle was just too busy to care a second time around about a little hardware store in Rhayader, Wales. Regardless, this was Hafod's last true holiday commercial, though they did release a holiday-ish video the following year. The 2021 advert, or maybe PSA is a better description, featured a Christmas-time visit by King Charles III, or Charles, Prince of Wales as he was known at the time, to Hafod hardware. It was put together as part of Charles's efforts to support the high streets. Think Main Street in a small town or city if you're in the States. And Hafod's message encouraging people to shop independent, or shop local as we would say. As a Yankee who's never understood the obsession with royalty, this was the least impressive of the Hafod videos. But there are two great things about it. First, there's a shot of Charles holding a copy of von Kampen's That Spell album on vinyl, and it also kind of implies he purchased it, or at least left with it. I'm not sure if royals actually purchase anything. Second, it features an original Christmas song by von Kampen, Old Fashioned Holiday. The song came from her 2021 2-track EP of the same name, which also features von Kampen's version of I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm.
The snow is snowing, the wind is blowing, but I can weather the storm.
And that's not the only Christmas music von Kampen has released. As mentioned earlier, there's the 2016 EP, AVK Christmas Project, which contains her versions of White Christmas and I'll Be Home for Christmas, plus a cover of Christmas Time Is Here, and another of her holiday originals, Lo How the Rose E'er Blooming. There's also A Midwest Christmas, another 2-track EP from 2020 containing the original song, A Midwest Christmas, and a cover of What Child Is This on the B-side. That's a pretty healthy Christmas resume. And these are all fantastic holiday tracks by an extremely talented and still fairly under-the-radar artist. All of these tracks and albums are available on your favorite streaming platform of choice, Apple Music, Spotify, or if you're like me and want to make sure a few more of your streaming subscription dollars make it into the pockets of the artists, Tidal. Thank you for listening to 'Tis the Soundtrack, and thank you for taking time today to explore the Christmas adverts of Hafod Hardware and the holiday music of Andrea von Kampen. This is Kevin Williams saying cheers and happy Leon Day.
Some are like water, some are like heat. Some are a melody and some are the beat. Sooner or later they all will be gone. Why don't they stay young? It's so hard to get old without a cause. I don't want to perish like a fading horse. Youth like diamonds in the sun, and diamonds are forever.